I asked ChatGPT, I said, why are people mean? And how can you change a person's attitude positively even if you don't know them? I'm not perfect, but just a little backstory. Like, I remember I used to work at this place that was really toxic, and just like the attitude of from the top, right? So a lot of times it does start from the top, and you could just tell that it just really made people uncomfortable, I guess. And so I would always come into the office and just try to be like, not, and it was unintentional. Like, I would just come in. I'm naturally a nice person, I think, until I get to know you. And then if you're not a nice person, I probably won't talk to you. I'm not the type of person that tries to, be mean to people or anything like that. I just try not to associate with people who I, don't want to associate with, I guess, I don't know. So anyways, but I will naturally, if I don't know you or if I know you and you seem to be a nice person, I'm totally a nice person and upbeat and happy, even when I'm feeling like crumb, right? You can tell if I feel like crumb because I am probably not as peppy, but anyways, so skipping through that, so I was nominated for a couple of awards. They would give an employee award monthly, and there were a couple of different ones that I was nominated for, and I think I got 2, I think, in the 6 months that I was there. And one of them, close to the end of the time that I was there, I got an award because they said, and I have it somewhere probably on my LinkedIn or something, but basically they were saying that, Charisse lights up the office when she walks into the room. I just tried unintentionally, I guess I keep saying tried, but I really wasn't trying, but I would just always try to, there goes that word again. Okay, fine. I guess I was trying. We'll just go with that. To just bring happiness and positivity. And I would always compliment people on whatever it was that I could compliment to them on. If I didn't work with them directly, I couldn't compliment them on their work, right? But maybe I could compliment them on, I saw that you handled that altercation with that customer really well. Good job. Or nice shoes. Most everyone wore uniforms, so you can't really say nice shirt. But your hair looks great today. Just different things like that. Just trying to lift people up. But I really was not trying. I don't know. It was just who I was. That's just what I did. And the reason I say was is because I don't work with people a lot anymore in person. It's mostly remote type of work. So I don't really see people a lot. Kind of secluded over here. That's why I make sure that I get out. I'm not even gonna lie. So I make sure that I go to church on Sundays and do various activities that require me to get out and spend time with people. I have a class that I take, different things like that. So I still try to get out because I don't want to be a complete boxed off person. So anyways, so I was like, why are people mean and how can you change a person positively even if you don't know them? Because a lot of times these people, I didn't really know them. I didn't know them at first when I first started working there. And some of them I didn't know when I left because I didn't really ever, I didn't have to communicate a lot with the workers because I was in the office. So, I didn't really know them, but they were the ones that actually nominated me and got me that award. So, and so that just also goes to tell you, be nice to everyone because you never know, what might come of that. In my case, I got an award and I also got, I believe it was some type of monetary bonus. So that was pretty neat. So anyways, When I asked ChatGPT this question, why are people mean? People can act mean for many reasons, often unrelated to the person they're being mean to. So don't take it personally, okay? And what I mean by that is, if someone's being mean to you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't like you or that they're even mad at you. Maybe they were being mad because of something else. Maybe they were put in a bad mood due to something that happened prior to them coming in contact with you, and you're the person that unfortunately they're just being mean to, which makes no sense, right? But it happens all the time. And then it says, so some of those reasons could be that they are hurt or stressed. Maybe they have an insecurity. Maybe they've learned that behavior. Maybe they're being defensive, or maybe there's a misunderstanding. So hurt or stress, they could be carrying pain, anger, or frustration from somewhere else in life. Kind of like what I just mentioned, where, maybe they just got into an argument with their mom and they're a teenager and they go into school and they see their friends and they're being mean to their friends, and their friends are like, gosh, what is wrong with him? Like, he is just mad at us for some reason. And really it's because he got in an argument with his mom because his mom told him that if he didn't make his bed before he left, then he couldn't go to the movies with his friends. Just an example. Or insecurity. So when people are insecure, a lot of times they put other people down, and it's wrong. But if there's someone out there who is like constantly telling you, oh, your hair looks awful. Oh, why are you wearing that outfit? You smile funny. You have a funny laugh. You talk weird. I don't know, just whatever, right? Like, I'm trying to think of any. Sometimes people do that because they themselves have a low self-esteem and they're insecure. And, it's hard because first reaction a lot of times is when someone says, your hair looks like crap. Your first thought might be to say, okay, well, your shirt is ugly. I'm not good at this, guys. I try my best not to. I'm not gonna lie. I used to be a mean person. So, when I was a teenager, I was not, nice all the time. But like, your first thought is, they say, your hair looks like crap. Well, your shirt looks like crap. And then you just get into this back and forth, where all of a sudden you're now roasting each other, right? And it's like, well, you're dumb. Well, you're dumber. Well, you stink. Okay, well, you never take showers. It's like, it's just, and you just get into this back and forth. And the truth of it is, more than likely, neither of you mean these things. And it just, kind of started. And if it's due to insecurity, then not only is it bad because you're going back and forth with throwing these roasts out there, but you're also, the person who started it is now making this other person insecure, more than likely, because now they're going to go off and they're going to think about, well, he said that my hair was ugly. What should I do with it now? Because I don't want my hair to be ugly. And then the person that started it is going to go off, and he already had a low self-esteem, which is why he started it. Now he's going to go off and he's going to be like, she said my shirt looked ugly. I guess I'll trash that shirt. And they'll just think about these things, and it just brings them down. Learned behavior. So maybe they grew up in an environment where meanness was normal. It was okay to be mean. And that's just all that they know. And they're not like, even if they don't want to be mean, it's hard for them not to be mean because that's just what they've learned. Does it make it okay? No, it does not make it okay. Defensiveness. So sometimes people lash out as a shield to protect themselves. So, maybe they are scared that, they're scared of something, and in order to protect themselves, they're going to be mean to avoid being put in that situation. Let me think. Let me think of some type of example for this one. This has got tough. Let me think. I don't know. I can't think of an example for that one, guys. If you have an example for defensiveness, let me know. And then misunderstanding. So what feels mean to one person might come from a lack of awareness or poor communication skills. And I feel like we get that a lot. Like, I don't know, especially these days, maybe I pay more attention now that I'm older. Maybe I didn't when I was younger. I don't know. But I do feel like there is a lot of misunderstanding due to poor communication skills. And I feel like those poor communication skills, I'm not even gonna lie, don't hate me. I mean, I love social media and everything, but a lot of that is due to social media, I feel like, because back when I was growing up, and you'll hear this a billion times from all these old folks out there, you know, I'm an old folk and all that, I guess. But, you know, I didn't have like a smartphone until I don't know how old I was. But I didn't have a smartphone until definitely after high school, I'm sure. And so I had to, like, I was going off with no phone at all, using a payphone. Yes, I used a payphone when I had to call home every once in a while, whenever I called home, you know? Like, my mom would tell me I could go out, I would go out. I'd come home when I was supposed to be home. I always came home on time. But, you know, just, I didn't have a smartphone or computer. We had MySpace. We did get MySpace. But Facebook came out a little bit later. But like, I was forced to in-person communicate with people. I had to go shopping in person. I couldn't get on Amazon and order stuff every single day and then wonder why in the world I ordered it. I had to actually physically get in the vehicle, drive to the mall, and go shopping and interact with probably 100 people, because I would go spend all day at the mall having fun with my girlfriends, trying on stuff, buying some of it, not buying some of it, eating there, maybe watching a movie. And so you were, you know, constantly in communication with people in person. And so I just feel like a lot of misunderstanding comes from like poor communication skills, because maybe we don't practice those as much as we used to. So ChatGPT says, how can you change someone's attitude positively even if you don't know them? That was my question, right? Like, how can you positively change someone's attitude even if you don't know them? And so it says, well, while you can't control another person, you can influence the interaction in a subtle but powerful way. Because you can't control anyone. The only person that you can control is yourself. And the only way you can control yourself is if you have self-discipline. Just a side note. But, okay, so it says, lead with kindness, show empathy, stay calm, give genuine compliments, model the behavior that you would like to see from them, choose curiosity over judgment, and know your limits. Lead with kindness. So you are going somewhere and you know this person's going to be there that is just always, you're like, you have this thought in your head and you're like, gosh, I really hope that this person isn't here, because it could be school, party, wherever, work. Man, I really hope I don't run into this person, because they're always so negative and they always have negative things to say, and I just can't deal with that today. Like, I really hope I don't see them. And then you walk around the corner and there they are. What do? Lead with kindness. Smile. Use a kind tone or respectful gesture that can soften the defensiveness, okay? Smile, kind tone, respectful gesture. Hi. Show empathy. Even simple phrases like, that sounds tough, can shift someone's mood. So if someone goes on and they start like this, we'll just stick with the same person. So you see them and you're like, hi. And they just start. They're just like, man, and you're like, that sounds tough. Try to be nice about it. Don't say, oh gosh, that sounds tough. Like, that sounds tough. Stay calm. Don't react to negativity with more negativity, because that will often just like make it worse, right? So stay calm. Let's say that you say, that sounds tough. And they're just like, yeah, da 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 da. And you're like, oh my gosh, whoa, 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 whoa. Instead of being like, okay, well, that's great. I don't care. Bye. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stay calm. Try not to react with negativity and give genuine compliments. You can also give genuine compliments. So people often disarm when they feel that they're seen and valued. Okay, so if you just blow them off and you're just like, all right, I don't have time for this, bye. Well, now they're like even more mad. You just fueled their anger, right? But, if instead you were like, man, that sounds tough. And then try to kind of like figure out a way to change the conversation, maybe say something like, when there's a break in conversation, maybe say something like, hey, I like that shirt that you're wearing. That looks really nice on you, even if you don't like it. I know, it sounds terrible. I try not to lie. But sometimes people just need a compliment just to put them in a good mood. I really like that shirt you're wearing. That looks really nice on you. I've got to get over here because I've got to go work on this. Or I've got to run to the restroom real quick before class starts, but it was nice seeing you. You can end the conversation and still be like positive about it and maybe even leave a good imprint on them. And maybe the next person they run into, maybe they won't be so rah, 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 right? Let's see. Model the behavior that you'd like to see. Respect, patience, and understanding. It's contagious, guys. It really is. So, I know a lot of times people say it takes respect to get respect. Or some people say, well, I'm not going to respect you until you respect me. And I'm not going to respect you until you respect me. Well, then there's probably never going to be any respect, right? Because a lot of people are, prideful and they're not humble. It sounds, crazy, but, most people, I feel like, that it's hard for them to be respectful of others when others are not respectful of them. But if you want to be respected, you need to give respect, patience, and understanding. And hopefully, in doing that, you will get respect back. Because not only, yes, you are showing respect to this other person, but you're also you're teaching them how to be respectful. And hopefully, even if they end up not respecting you, maybe there is someone else out there that has rubbed off on them to respect. Wait, did that make any sense? But, sometimes you take something that you learned from one person and you use it with someone else. So maybe, let's say me, for example, let's say I am learning respect from John, and John is being respectful to me, even though I'm not respectful to him. But now that I've learned this, I'm getting this respect from John, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go and respect Martha a little bit more. And it's unintentional, but it's just like John's respectful attitude is rubbing off on me. And now I am being more respectful towards Martha. I'm still not being respectful towards John because I don't like John and John just annoys me and whatever and blah, 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 whatever. Sorry if your name's John. But, so sometimes we may not get from it what we, hope to get from it. And maybe sometimes, and in that situation, maybe we don't even know that we're really impacting this other person. But Martha knows, right? Because now Martha's being respected more. So sometimes we don't even see the fruits of our labor. But you guys, there are fruits growing somewhere. They are somewhere. And then let's see, respect is contagious. Okay, so choose curiosity over judgment. Asking small questions like, how's your day going? It can rehumanize the exchange. Like I just said, like, nice shirt, I like that on you. How's your day going? Got any plans this weekend? Just different things like that. Oh, did you see the football game last night? what team were you going for? Yeah, I saw so-and-so got squashed. I don't know. I don't watch football, so. You know, but just like little small talk to kind of like show that you have some interest can kind of help to rehumanize everything. And then know your limits. Sometimes the best positive influence is to just walk away rather than fuel the cycle. So if you have tried a couple of different positive things with this person and it's still, they're just still like right back at the negativity, man, but blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, and you just, you know, you're seeing that this isn't really going anywhere good, then it's okay to just walk away. It is. It's okay to just walk away. And if it's the type of person that's going to get mad at you for walking away, then make something up. I know I said don't lie, but occasionally I feel like it is okay to lie. I know it's not lie, but maybe it is not okay to lie. I'm so sorry. That is so a 10 commandment. But maybe if you see that it's not, you know, the conversation isn't going anywhere good, you don't need to be fueling the fire, then, you know, come up with a reason to excuse yourself from the conversation. All right, well, I've got to go to the bathroom. Or, you know, okay, well, I'm going to go get a drink of water. I need something to eat. I'm thirsty. And go do that. Go do it. If you're in a small area where the person's going to still be there, maybe, you know, go spend 5 minutes in the bathroom just to allow that person to, you know, decompress, get over whatever it was that was going on in that conversation that just would not stop being negative. So that when you come out of the bath, and also to regroup your thoughts and to think, okay, when I come out, they're probably still going to be there. And what can I say to kind of change this up a little bit? If they come and try to approach me and try to talk to me again, what can I say or do to handle this situation positively? And maybe you think of a couple of different, you know, now that you're away from that person, you can think of a couple of different conversations to spark if they do come back to talk to you. That would be hopefully positive. What do they like to do? Well, I know that they work in the IT department. Maybe I can ask them how that implementation went with that new software and just kind of get them on that. So, you know what? I know they have 2 kids. Maybe I can ask them if, you know, how the kids are doing in school, something like that. Like you can regroup so that when you come back out, if they do approach you again, just pulled my hair. If they do approach you again, then you have, you know, some positive thoughts. Hopefully they're positive, that you can kind of, you know, change that conversation up a bit. All right, let's see. Regardless, though, you cannot guarantee that someone will change. No matter how much positive energy you give, you know, it has to be something that they choose. So if they choose to follow that positivity, great. If they don't, you know, there's only so much you can do. And you also don't want to be drugged down into their negative aura. Like you just, you know, so try your best, smile, be happy, try to be positive, and, but don't let them drag you down into the negativity either. So, yeah. I hope that helps, guys. I really enjoyed that. If you have any thoughts on any of this, please let me know. If you think that there are better ways to handle some of those situations, or maybe you have some situations and you're kind of wondering how to handle those situations, you know, you can drop those down in the comments and maybe we can get a conversation going about how to, you know, how to approach those, how to better, you know, make better decisions based on those situations. But regardless, smile, try to be happy, and lift someone else's day.